We're staying on this breaking news. New York City Mayor Eric Adams demanding Governor Kathy Hochul call an emergency session of the state legislature to reform weak-on-crime laws, including no cash bail, after a vicious, brazen assault on cops by two 16-year-olds who were then freed without bail. They had tried to jump a subway turnstile here in New York City. Let's welcome back to the show from the Fraternal Order of Police's Joe Gamaldi. Your reaction to that story?
Well, it's nice to see politicians actually talking about the historic violence against law enforcement, because we at the FOP have been talking about this for years. 2021 was the deadliest year for law enforcement and intentional homicides in 20 years. We've already had 204 police officers shot in this country this year. That's a 14% increase over last year, which was a historic year for officers being shot. So this hearing, it's great to see. It's a positive step. But, you know, for the 800,000 police officers that go into work every day with a target on our backs, we want some action, which is why we're asking for Congress to pass the Protect and Serve Act, which would make it a federal crime to knowingly assault a police officer, which, like this miscreant in New York who viciously attacked and choked an NYPD officer. By the way, he was already out on a robbery charge, too. He was out the next day. Liz, he didn't even have time to take a nap and get his bologna sandwich at the jail before he was out. So how many more police officers need to be shot? How many more need to be killed before our politicians start taking some action? Because the time to act is now.
Yeah, Joe, to your point, it's a lot of citizens say this is outrageous because these Democrats demand all these things when they have to live with the consequences. Look at these other brazen attacks. A man whose life was saved in Las Vegas, his attacker's gun got jammed. A woman shot by cops after opening fire in a Dallas airport. And we've got more and more of this mayhem coming in, and more U.S. cities see a drop in crime solved and arrests. I mean, D.C. solved less than half of its homicide cases through July of this year. They solved 2/3 last year. In Cincinnati, the clearance rate is 61%. That's a drop from 71% of crimes solved and arrests. So you see that all across the board. You see it in Tampa, Boston. The number of arrests and cases solved is plummeting.
Yeah, and, you know, crime is through the roof. It's no secret to anyone. Murders are up in Atlanta 15%. In D.C., they're up 17%. Philly, they're up 100% over the last 3 years. And Denver's about to have their highest murder rate since 1981. And a big problem with this is these are victims and their families left behind asking officers to pick up the pieces and solve the cases. But witnesses, nosy neighbors, snitches, they don't want to talk to us anymore.
Yeah, stay on that for a second.
Because they know there's not going to be any consequences.
To your point, we've got a 2020 New York State law. That was the no cash bail law. It also left police without the ability to promise anonymity to witnesses. Under the law, they've got to give the defense attorneys the names and contact data of any witness with any information about a case, even if the person won't testify at trial. You need a judge to prove an order to protect witnesses' identities now? So how are you going to solve crimes?
Yeah, so do you blame these witnesses, Liz, for not wanting to come forward? Because they know that this dirtbag is going to be right back out hours later, and he's going to take out his revenge. This is the collateral damage of the revolving door criminal justice system they are seeing. These woke judges and politicians, they continue to push these policies. They know they're not successful. They know it's leading to an increase in crime and an increase in murder rates, and they continue to push them. It's truly ghoulish behavior, and it has to stop.
Joe Gamaldi, thank you for your service to our country. And to all the men and women in blue, thank you so much, too.